Hey everyone, this is Sir Kingdra here, and thought I'd do a video of my truck. I've been wanting to do this video for a little while now, and I just had some recent work done to this thing, and I figured now would be a good time to show it off here. I wanted to wait till I had my last of the regular maintenance done to it before I did this video, so figured I'd make this now. So, excuse me, my truck is a 2001 Ford F350 Super Duty. It's got a 5.4 liter 2-valve Triton V8 motor in it, gas. And it's got the automatic 4R100 transmission. It's manual 4-wheel drive. It's XL trim. Kind of faded, but XL trim, so it's a plain Jane model, more or less, just base model. It's got the manual crank windows, what else? Manual crank windows, manual door locks, manual mirrors, so nothing too fancy. Kind of prefer it that way anyways, that way there's no motors that can break in the windows or any of that, so that's always a perk for me anyway. I like that. And it's factory ride height. It's just sitting in my driveway here, but it's factory ride height. There's no lift kit on this truck. I've just got tires I've got on here, 265 by 75, rim 16, load range E tires. These are my winter tires. These are Arctic Claws. And the model of Arctic Claws, these are XSI M plus S or 5, whatever that means. And yeah, these are just 16-inch rims. I painted these factory rims. I followed a tutorial I watched on YouTube of a fella called Chris Fix. He did a review on how to paint rims, and I followed his tutorial, and it worked out really, really well. I did two-tone on these ones. And then I put red dice caps on there. I thought those turned out pretty good. I got Skyjacker Hydro 7000 shocks all the way around in this truck. I find those shocks work really, really well. They've definitely smoothened the ride out ever since I put them in about a year ago. Made a big, big difference, I thought. I also got the Skyjacker single steering damper on this thing too, if you can see it there. I didn't even have a steering damper on this truck before. I didn't have one, so I had to buy the whole kit and I put it on there, and that made a big, big difference with the light steering feeling that you have happen sometimes when you hit a set of train tracks or the slightest pothole in the middle of a highway or something. You feel the steering wheel just jar on you like that, and it's a pretty unnerving feeling, but at least when you got this damper on there, it kind of smooths that out a little bit. And I had the ball joints replaced on this thing last summer, and I went with the I know you can't see them, but I went with the XRF brand ball joints, and haven't had any issues with those yet. I got a DZ brush guard on this. It's literally, if you've ever seen a Weston brush guard, it's literally the exact same thing as far as like the styling and the craftsmanship and everything of that goes. Material's all the same as far as I could figure. Like, I looked at them both, and mounts the same way and everything on these Super Duties. And it's got your mounts for your lights and everything on it, and it's got the headlight guards, and it's powder coated steel. And the DZ was about half the price of a Weston, so I went with DZ. And I've been really happy with this. It hasn't chipped or nothing. I've had this on there for about a year and a half now, and it's been really, really good. I've got these cheaper halogen fog lights. I wanted to put LEDs in these guns, but I couldn't fit the LED bulb inside the little housing it's got there, but they work just fine. There's those fog lights. I've got those on a switch, and those are also teed in with these LED fog lights down here. These ones are much brighter than those other ones. 4 LEDs. I think these are floodlights. Then I've got a 12-inch Cree LED light bar on here too. It's got floodlights and spotlights. Bought that on eBay for like 60 bucks. It's way cheaper than buying those Rigid Industry ones. And then I bought aftermarket headlights. These are Spec D LED Harley Davidson style headlights. They got the 6 LED bulbs in the center, and then I went ahead and I bought LED bulbs for the top and for the bottom. And I tell you, those things make a hell of a difference at nighttime compared to those old halogens I had on this thing before. A night and day difference. I will never go back to a halogen again after running these LEDs. Love those headlights. So what else do I got here? I got my, if you have seen the video of when I put that there, that's what I'm looking for, the deep transmission pan. I did a video of me installing this. It's a Durali deep cooling transmission pan. And it holds additional fluid as well as it has them cooling tubes in it to help you cool your fluid as you're driving, as air passes through it. I just recently rebuilt my front sway bar with new end links and bushings. And it needed it. It had a lot of slop in it, and those end links were just hammered in this thing, so just recently rebuilt that. Handles a lot better around corners now with that. I've just got factory exhaust on this thing. I'd like to at some point put maybe a high flow catalytic converter and either a Flowmaster 40, original 40, or maybe a 44 on it. Just for a little bit more of aggressive sound more than anything else. It's not something I really need per se, but maybe down the road. Then there's those hijacker shocks in the back as well. I've gone and I've upgraded the axle ratio in this thing here. I went from the 373 ratio from the factory to a 430 gear ratio front and rear with rebuilt axles and all that. And I feel it tows a lot better than it did before with them 373 gears. It's got a lot more go off the get-go with the steeper gear ratio. Unloaded, you notice a big difference as well, like just driving with no trailer, and it makes a pretty good difference actually with how the truck performs, in my opinion. And I'm happy with it. I'm happy I did it. Tows a lot better too, especially on the hills, so you don't feel like it has to slug right down when it's climbing a hill with a heavy trailer on, which is exactly why I wanted to put those steeper gears in, so it's doing exactly what I want it to do. And let's see here, the work that I just had done to this thing was I had these heavy duty leaf springs put in to replace my worn out old ones. And these are just OEM heavy duty 1-ton springs. Nothing too fancy. It's a 5+1 pack, so 6 springs total. 5 main leaves and then 1 overload on the bottom. And yeah, I'm really liking these things so far. I tell you, I haven't done any hauling or towing with the new springs yet, but I'm sure it'll make a big difference. I know it will. And then I've gone ahead, and a couple of months ago I got this rear sway bar. This truck didn't have a rear sway bar at first when I bought it, and I wanted to put one on because I've been having a lot of side-to-side roll on the highway. Like when a crosswind comes, you feel the truck kind of pull to the left or pull to the right depending on which way the wind's blowing at highway speed, and it pushes the truck around pretty good actually. So I talked to a lot of guys on the Ford forums, and they recommended I should put on a rear sway bar, so I figured it couldn't hurt. So I wanted to get the Hellwig big wig sway bar, but it was like $700, and I ended up finding this factory sway bar at an auto wrecker for $100, so I bought it instead. And I just had to buy these new end links for it. I just put these on the other day actually, these longer end links and new bushings. And I find this thing makes a big difference driving on the highway with the crosswinds and that. Like I'm telling you, this thing makes a big difference compared to what I felt like before. Helps a lot when you take corners pretty fast too, like not really fast, but it helps you with cornering for sure too. You don't feel like it's like you don't feel a boat effect. Like you don't feel it wanting to shimmy your rock back and forth when you take a turn. It does a really good job, and that's just a factory style rear sway bar on this deal. It's nothing fancy or anything. And don't worry about this here, that's not a leak or anything. That's just when I did my gear oil change, some of that fluid ended up piddling down there, and I took some brake cleaner to it, and it's not leaking or nothing. That's just where I had to spray the brake clean to kind of clean that up a little bit so it wasn't oily. And yeah, pretty happy with these springs, new U-bolts and everything too. But yeah, this truck's got a Sterling 10.5 rear end and a Dana 50 front end on it. Pretty much all the Super Duties either have a Dana 50 or Dana 60 front, and then a Sterling 10.25 or a 10.5 rear end. And these are the old leaf springs. These ones here that were in the truck, they're pretty tired. It was wanting to ride on that bottom overload with like 900 pounds in the back of the truck, and I got about 2,500 pounds of available payload in this truck. Yeah, they're just tired. These ones are 5 spring pack. The new ones I put in are 6, so they are going to be a lot more heavy duty. And I've got a Reese. Well, I don't know if it's a Reese or not. I've actually been trying to find what brand hitch this is, but I got a 5th wheel on this with Reese rails. I put this in just the beginning of autumn of this year. And in the winter time here, I've just started this year to experiment. I've put 320 pounds of sand right over the axle, right underneath my 5th wheel, just for some added weight and traction on the back axle. It's a 4-wheel drive, and I do use my 4-wheel drive with my snow tires in the winter time, but I figured I just wanted to experiment to see if the sandbags would make a big difference, and I guess I'll know when it really gets icy out to see if the truck stops and handles any better. So, yeah, I've got my toolbox here too. I got all my tools in there too. Maybe I'll do a separate video of what all I carry in there, but got cargo chains and binders and straps and sockets, impact gun, crowbars, breaker bars, hooks, clevises, tow strap, jumper cables, and a lot more in there. And I got my galvanized headache rack here, and I put these LED marker lights on there. Those are really nice when it's dark out. You get a little bit more visibility for people to see you in the back if it's bad weather, which is nice. And I've also gone ahead and I put a triple light strip down here right above the license plate here, like what the dualies have, and it's wired right into those as well, so that turns on too. And then I've got Spyder LED tail lights. I've had these on here a long time, and they work really good. I quite like the looks of these. Kind of have a smoked appearance to them. And I've got the same pintle hitch I've got on this truck that I had on the old F350 that I did a review video on that. Same old hitch, it works really good. 16,000 pound rating, and never tow anything near that heavy, but it's better to have a hitch more than capable than not enough. I've got a 7-way trailer plug. Where is it? There it is. For if you're towing a 5th wheel. Right there. And I've also got the LED one here on the bumper, which works pretty good. I use this all the time. And I've got the newer style Ford mud flaps on this thing. I've had those on for a while now. They seem to work pretty good. Didn't have mud flaps before I bought it, so it definitely doesn't hurt. Especially when you're in Alberta, because it's mandatory to have mud flaps if your wheels are a certain height. Or just any truck actually should have them around here as far as I know. I've got a Thule roof rack set up here. I think I also did a review on this thing too a ways back. I believe these are 56 or 58 inch crossbars spread. And I've got the Thule Canyon roof basket on there as well. Helpful for if you have a whole load in the back and then you need to throw something else on top, like kayaks or something, or spare tire or whatever you kind of need to throw up there. You always have that option. And this is a full crew cab long box, full 8-foot bed. Manual 4-wheel drive, as I said. Manual hubs. I've put new manifolds on this from when I first bought it, because they were leaking exhaust pretty bad. and I haven't had any issues with that yet. It's a 2-valve, so I don't have the issues with the cam phasers or the multi-piece spark plugs like the 3 valves do. But yeah, I've got, open this thing up. I put in lariat seats in this thing, and they got the hookups in them and everything for heated and power and all that, so that's nice. It used to just have a big bench seat in the front, same as what the back has, and really uncomfortable seat, and it didn't have any forward or back motion, and didn't have a headrest really either, so I figured these would make a good difference. I bought these used, plus it gives you a nice center console in the middle too. And I got a JVC stereo, you can't really see it that well, but JVC stereo cell phone holder I put in there. Steering wheel lock and some other anti-theft deterrents I've put on this thing because these trucks are relatively easy to steal. Just gotta be too careful. All these here are my switches here. This is for my fog lights on the front that I showed you. Kind of a dirty job I did years back with this. These ones here are a bit better. Got my rear marker lights here, and then I've got an orange strobe light I can mount on the roof that I can plug right in. That's what this thing here is. It's like a 4-way trailer plug I have wired in, and I have a tie wrap to the roof rack here, so if I ever need my strobe light, which is right here, if you're on the side of the road helping someone or what have you, you can always throw that on top there and turn that on, so that's good, extra safety. And this was for an air horn, which no longer worked, so I took it out. And then this is for the Cree light bar. And I've got all those on fuses and that too under the hood. Then I've got a Kurt electronic brake controller that seems to work really, really well for towing, for trailer brakes. Works really good. 4 on the floor, manual 4-wheel drive, as I said before. And yeah, nothing really too fancy in here. I've got glow shift gauges in this. I've got the top one is transmission temperature, and the lower one is my water temperature, coolant temperature. Because I've had this factory coolant gauge no longer works. It hasn't worked for like a year and a half or two years now. Well over 2 years now. It just stopped. And I had the sensor tested and all that tested, and we determined that it's got to be a short or something inside the gauge cluster itself, so I figured it'd be more expensive for me to go and buy a new gauge cluster than it would just to bypass the gauge and to put my own in, so that's what I ended up doing. I just bypassed it because it's just cheaper, and you know, it's not a big deal to put this in. It's on an A-pillar, it's pretty straightforward. I'll go ahead and pop the hood here. Couple of wire, well, quite a few wires actually. I tried to keep them as organized as I could. Just running all my accessories and crap. I just keep it away from all the parts there. But that's my sender for the coolant temperature gauge I've got. I just put a new Motorcraft air filter in this a couple days ago. My clamp is buggered, but it still works. I have had to put in a new alternator in this about 1.5 years ago. New heavy-duty alternator. I don't remember the amperage output that thing has, but I want to say 130. I could be wrong though. And then this is the new battery I had to put in shortly after the alternator crapped out on me. This has 1100 crank amps and 875 cold cranking amps. That's a pretty heavy-duty battery actually. 875 crank amps. That's pretty good. Good for when it's like minus 20 outside. And then I've got my old transmission cooler crapped out on me. It had a crack in it when we put in this new one, which we discovered only when we put this new one in, so it's pretty good that we caught that when we did this, or else I would have been piddling out transmission fluid. But I got new transmission lines on this as well as this cooler. It's a this is a True Cool Aluminum 28,000 GVW rated transmission cooler. So far it seems to be doing okay for the cooling. I've got it right in front of everything else, in front of the radiator and the condenser and all that, so it's got maximum cooling. It's right in the center. And this bull bar, or this brush guard I've got, it doesn't interfere with any cooling. There is free enough to pass as if it wasn't there, so there's no deterrent there. Or resistance, I should say. And then I've put in this new power steering cooler, I think last summer, because the old one was shot. It was leaking out of the line, so I put in this new one. And it works really good too, actually. It's helped a lot, because I think I was leaking power steering fluid in the old cooler before I had put that in. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. I haven't done anything really fancy to this hood. I know a lot of you are probably going to give me shit for having all this wiring and stuff around, but it's not hitting any moving parts or anything of that, and it's all tie wrapped and everything, so it's not hitting anything hot or anything, so it works. It's not a show truck anyways. That's pretty much everything down here. I haven't really done anything major to this thing actually for under the hood. I've put in a new, or I had to have put in a new idle air control sensor, because that crapped out. New air filters regularly. Oil changes, and that's about it really, actually. Cleaned out the MAF sensor. I put in a new thermostat as well. And transmission flushes and power steering. That's about it actually for under the hood. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, I'll do a start up here. It's kind of a cold start, I guess. I was driving a couple of hours ago, so it might not be a true cold start, but I'll start her up for you and show you what it sounds like. Stock exhaust. So yeah guys, that's pretty much the most review of this truck I think I've ever currently done on my YouTube channel. I'll certainly be doing more videos as I add more updates and upkeep with this truck, as well as my trailer. But yeah, I felt I should upload this video for some time now, and I figured right after I got those leaf springs put in that now would be a good time as any to do it. And yeah, I guess something else I've got here too is with the fifth wheel hitch, I've also got this goose hitch as well. Haven't actually towed a gooseneck or a fifth wheel with this truck yet, but I'm hoping to get a fifth wheel camper at some point. So that'll be nice. If we ever have to rent a gooseneck flat deck to haul something, I've always got the option or the choice to tow one. It's always good to have options and the capability or the ability to do it. And I'll do another video on these in the near future, or in the future. These are my summer tires I have. I bought these new in May. These are 265 75 R16 Loader G Mickey Thompson Baja ATZ P3 tires. Really happy with the way these tires performed in the summertime, actually. These rims I painted blue. Well, kind of a crappy view of them, of the justified view of them, because they're kind of dirty. And they got a bunch of crap on them, but I'll show these when they're on the truck in the summertime, and they look really good, I think. I did the same method as painting these ones as I did with the Mickey Thompson rims. from Chris Fix. I'll put a link to his video, or maybe a link to his video of him showing how to do the painting of rims, but they turned out wicked. Really, really, really wicked. Very happy with the way these tires perform. Actually, very aggressive lug tread on these, and believe it or not, on the highway, these do not make a single sound going down the road. Like, I know you won't believe me because how aggressive this tread actually is, but... And the video is not showing any justification of how aggressive these actually are, but... They're similar to a mud terrain tire, but they're, kind of like an all-terrain, slash off-road tire. They're still considered a highway tire, but... They don't make any sound or howling going down the highway, which I was very surprised with. I read a bunch of reviews before I bought these, but saying that there wasn't highway noise, but you gotta see it to believe it sometimes, and I was pleasantly surprised with these. But anyways, that pretty much wraps up the video of the overview of my 2001 F350 Super Duty with a 5.4 liter Triton motor. Stay tuned for further videos here, and if you like the video, please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe for more truck and trailer hauling and tutorial videos on my YouTube channel. And yeah, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next time. Alright guys, see you later.